in math lesson 7-9, which will be 2 parts. Today we're going to work on plotting and analyzing swim data. Let's begin though with our whiteboards, and we'll move into our math journals in just a few moments. What I'm going to ask of you is to number, actually let's just do one at a time. So let's list the first 5 multiples of 7. I will give you the first 2. 7, because sometimes kids get multiples mixed up with factors. 7 and 14. Would you go ahead and write the next 3 multiples of 7? 21, 28, and 35. Now go ahead and write all the factors of 24. Factors are numbers multiplied together to give you 24. So if we write them as pairs, you should have 4 pairs. Would you please go ahead, pause your video, and write the factor pairs of 24. Remember to pause your video. We have 1 times 24. Always start in order, and that way when they become the turnaround facts, you know you found them all. 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. There's nothing times 5. The next one would be 6 times 4, and now you have the turnaround fact, and you know you have them all. Number 3. A shipment, let me move this over a little bit. A shipment has 40 boxes of baseballs. Each box contains 100 baseballs. How many baseballs are in the shipment? Remember, this would be just an extended fact, so write the answer. 4 times 1 is 4, and we would add 1, 2, 3 zeros behind there, so it would be 4,000 baseballs. And number 4, draw 2 shapes that are congruent. Congruent means they're the same size and the same shape. So would you please draw 2 congruent shapes? Maybe 2 triangles or 2 stars. Same size, same shape as best you can while you're freehanding things. All right, let's go ahead and move into our math journal. We're in lesson 7-9, which is a 2-day lesson. This is on page 251. Plotting and analyzing swim data. On Monday, the swim team coaches kept track to the nearest half a mile of how many miles each team member swam. The following data were collected. So you can see all those fractions there. Fill in the missing numbers on the horizontal axis of the line plot. Then plot the data set. So let's go ahead and give this a label. Team swim. It's all about distances. And these numbers represent miles. So let's put miles down below. And the first thing we need to do is to be able to find the smallest fraction. So look through those. I see 2.5 being the smallest. 2.5. So what we want to do is start our number line with 2.5. Now it's going up by half mile, so I have to go in order. 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, and 5.5. So once you start with a number, you have to go up the same amount for each line. Now let's go ahead and plot them. Cross them off as you plot them so you know that you've taken care of it. If you need more time, go ahead and pause your video. Use the completed line plot to answer the questions. Find the difference between the greatest and the least number of miles each person swam. So the greatest would be this one, right? Because there's nothing at 5.5, so 5. And the least is 2.5. So if you take 5 minus 2.5, you might be able to do that in your head. I think you can. But if you couldn't, you would just borrow from the 5, make that fraction that you borrowed into a denominator that's already being used, which is 2. Put the same number on top, so 4 2/2 is the same as 5. And then you can go ahead and subtract. And I think you could have done that one in your head, but not always will that be the case. Number 2, how many miles were swum, that's a weird way to say it, I think, altogether by those that swam? 3.5 miles. So there's 2 people, so we're going to take 3.5 plus 3.5 equals what we're solving for. And I need to go on to my next page. So remember, 2.5, there were 2 people plus 2.5. And 2.5 plus 2.5, I think you can do in your head. But again, if not, go ahead and add those together. 1/2 equals 2/2. 4 2/2 is the same as 5. How many miles were swum altogether by those who swam? 4.5 miles. So let's go back to the 4.5. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4.5, and 4 people swam that, so I have to add it together. 4.5, 4.5, 4 times. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add together the halves first. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1, plus another 1/2 is 1, plus another 1/2. So this 1/2 and this 1/2 equal 1. This 1/2 and this 1/2 equals another 1. So I'm just going to write 2 over here. And then 4, and 4 is 8. 8 plus 4 is 12, plus another 4 is 16, plus 2 more. The answer would be 18 miles. Number 5, how many miles were swum altogether by the 6 team members who swam the least amount of miles? So I have to take 6 of them that swam the least. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2.5 for 3 people. So I have to add 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 3 people who swam 3 miles. So plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So that's a lot to write. 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5. Oops. Plus 3. That's a 1/2. Plus 3 plus 3 equals what we're solving for. I'm going to add together all of my 3's. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. Now I'm going to just add together the whole numbers here. 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. That equals 15. Now I'm going to add up the fractions. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1 whole, plus another half plus 1.5. So sometimes it's easier just to add the whole numbers and then the fractions. So 15 plus 1.5 would be 16.5 miles. Let's move on to math boxes 7-9, which is on page 254. Number 1, 246 pairs of eyeglasses have to be packed in boxes of 6 per box. 369 pairs of sunglasses have to be packed in boxes of 9 per box. How many boxes are needed for each type? Fill in the circle next to true or false. So A, more boxes are needed for eyeglasses than sunglasses. So what I would have to do is take 246 divided by 6. Go ahead and write this on the side in your math journal. So 6 goes into 24 4 times. 4 times 6 is 24. And 6 goes into 6 how many times? Once. So 41 boxes for eyeglasses. So then go ahead over in this space right here, because we won't need that. So the next one, show me 369. That's for the sunglasses, and they're packed in boxes of 9. So how many 9s are there in 369? Well, 9 times 4 is 36. Bring down your 9. How many 9s are in 9? 1. So they also need 41 boxes for sunglasses. So which is true? More boxes are needed. A, for eyeglasses than sunglasses. That would be false. More boxes are needed for sunglasses than eyeglasses. False. The same number of boxes are needed for both. True. You cannot tell how many boxes are needed. That is false. All right, let's skip past 2. Let's go to number 4. Let's do 4B, 95 times 76. 6 times 5 is 30. Put down your 0, carry your 3. 6 times 9 is 54. 54 plus 3 is 57. Put in your happy 0. 7 times 5 is 35. Carry your 3. 7 times 9 is 63. Plus 3 is 66. Go ahead and add those up. Whoops, sorry. 7,220. That's it for today.